So, Michael, first of all, I wanted to ask you about your initial relationship with the football club. You're obviously a local lad. Was it a case of a family thing? That's where your love came from?
Yeah, originally, father had season tickets here, and I believe our company was one of the first companies to take up the executive boxes, which would then have been in what knew then as the River End. We had that for best part of 40 years, so that was enjoyable.
You have a very close relationship with Dealey and Michael. Obviously, you've worked together for quite a long time at the club, but you came in 1996 at the same time as them. Can you tell us a little bit about your relationship with them and how the three of you came to take over the club at that stage?
Yeah, in '96, I think the club was very close to going out of business. I had known previous people here. I had known Robert Chase, and through we used to do quite a bit of sponsorships for matches. And then it came up that they were looking for some people to put an investment in. It's now the 27th year of Michael and Delia, and I think really enjoyed working with them. Their passion for the club is immense, and I think we've only had one little fallout in all that time, which is just great, because in football it's so easy to have different opinions and trying to go different ways. But no, we've had a great relationship, and wish them all the best to carry on.
You mentioned how they're passionate supporters, same as yourself. Did that make it easier or harder to make decisions as the years went by?
Yeah, well, I think particularly for this club, all the directors since I've been there are all supporters of the club. So yeah, I think that is a great help. But yeah, it probably helps sway some of the major decisions that you're doing for the club.
It's changed quite a bit since then. What are the biggest improvements and what areas have improved the most since that time?
Well, thing that stands out really, and I think it started with when guy Andrew Cullen was here. I mean, I think we were having attendances of 16, 17,000, and when you look now that I think, must be for 20 consecutive years, season tickets of 20,000 plus, regardless of what division. That's, absolutely a fantastic achievement. Supporters here, we know how good they are. Yeah, the standard of football, but I think if you really look deeper, the mega improvements is Coney. I mean, we all know how important the youth is, and early days I was involved with academy. Improvements. Just as Coney is now astounding. And in the time when it was built, it was recognised as a modern setup, but that soon changes. But for what's going on there now, I think it's the swimming pool and everything's now coming on. It's mega.
So you've been spoken about by a lot of people around the club as a big advocate for the academy in your early days, and you mentioned the improvements at the Lotus Training Centre. Is that element of homegrown players and the academy still as important now as it was then?
I think even more important now. With the silly transfer fees and money, I think if you produce one a year, it's a fantastic achievement, and I think that the academy is still the future of Norwich City Football Club.
Many supporters will remember the part you played in bringing Grant Holt to the club, obviously one of the club's most successful transfers. Can you tell us a small bit more about how that came about?
Yeah, it's a great story, really, isn't it? We were just been relegated to Division One for the first time since I was on board, and obviously the club was at its lowest that I'd known. We were trading with Bosmans and free transfers, and I sort of said to Michael and Delia that we've got to try and get some money here somehow to buy players, and so I worked along with the people here, and thought there was the supporters could take a rebate on the season tickets if the club got relegated, and I ended up with working with the supporters that for every pound they didn't take off the rebates, I matched, and we ended up, a great story, signing a tyre fitter from Shrewsbury who had to have a ankle operation before he played, but the legend of Grant Holt came out of that. What a story.
Football is a quickly changing industry. There's a lot of people come and go from clubs. Obviously, in the time you've been here, you'll have met a lot of people. But is there any managers, players, staff that still stick out for you that you have a particularly close relationship?
Yeah, with the early days when I talked about early involvement in the academy, we had some great players there. Ian Crook, Mark Bowen, Ian Culverhouse, Gunny, Flecky. I'm still in touch with Flecky most times. Gunny is coming as my guest for the Blackpool game, so I like those guys. I loved the guys in the 2004 Nigel Worthington team. The team that where we got Hucks in. So that was a good time. Really good time was the playoff final win at Wembley. The time that will stick out, particularly because of the Grant Holt scenario, and that from going from League One through to the Championship to the playoff in 3 years under Paul Lambert. That would be the highlight of my times.
Lovely. And Mark Atanasio has acquired your holding, and what are you hoping to see from him in terms of what he can bring to the club and how he can push them into the future?
Yeah, interesting scenario. Met up with Mark, and I thought, how you can't judge first meetings, but I thought, this guy really means business. He wants to be involved. He'd looked at other clubs, but and then you see what he'd done with Milwaukee. Yeah, I think Mark's influence and his time here will, give security longer term for the club, and hopefully he'll can do some investment and move the club forward. But certainly a good move, and I'm very confident that it will be good for the football club.
Lastly then, you'll now be taking up a role as honorary vice president. Will it be easier or harder for you coming to the games as a fan now that you've stepped into that role?
Really easier, but I should still be around. I've just seen some guys outside, and I've sort of offered to work as a club representative with them and try and get the historical side of the club back. We need reunion dinners because as much as we want this club to go forward, we need to keep remembering the good times because the club from where it's been had some wonderful times and achievements, and let's keep it going.